Hello, hello. The final check-in of Dtrnstn Baby by Terry Peters. Chapters 10 and 11 to the end. So spoilers. As much as these things can be spoilers. I was semi-complaining that, like, wow, things were going a little too smoothly. There's a little bit too much talky, kind of like, this is the brave new world from Katrina, of the people hoping and negotiating and doing all that stuff. It's like, oh, when we get the drama, and what do we get but the drama um, where, well, drama, but not drama unrealistic or melodramatic. It's just that Reese is at a kind of what turns into sort of an impromptu baby shower. It's actually kind of your yuppie nightmare of a friend going through divorce, so has gone through divorce, is now into kind of upscale stuff from crystals. This is essential oils or something, but it turns into an impromptu baby shower when Katrina um, announces that yes, she's pregnant, and here is the co-mother here. And so, and kind of Reese kind of realizes kind of partway through, it's like, oh, this is Katrina's coming out party, a coming out thing as being queer, her version of queer. It's like it's the new hip thing, this season kind of thing. Well, the most uncharitable reading of that might be. And that goes okay. She kind of recognizes, like, oh yes, you've come out, so you're doing kind of a blunt, this is who I am, deal with it kind of thing, which is, before you get kind of ground down and you kind of end up with your compromises and, the more messy, kind of mundane, kind of like, this is who I am. You deal with it, but I mostly have to deal with it, assholes, kind of that sort of thing. But what happens at the end of this thing is partners picking up, and who's picking up one of the women but the cowboy, the dude that she's been having an affair with throughout the book, from the very beginning, in the present day, of her sugar daddy, basically. Another abusive asshole who kind of treats her like dirt, like she sort of likes but doesn't like, and that sort of thing. And yeah, Katrina, this, unfortunately, she's asking Katrina, like, how did he get here? That's a cowboy. That's the guy I was having an affair with. And it turns out, oh God, he's having the woman that he's been cheating on is one of Katrina's best friends, and he apparently was cheating on her with another trans woman, a year or so ago. It's like, well, that wasn't me. But this, and the cowboy is HIV positive, but, like, completely bottomed out, whatever the count is, and she's on blockers and stuff like that. So it's like, it's completely safe that way. But Katrina freaks out and suddenly kind of does what Ames and Reese kind of term as the most kind of retro kind of homophobic thing, which is an AIDS panic kind of stance, where she's like, no, wait, nope, you're not going to be, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Reese is pissed off. She goes home. She writes an angry letter, because that's how, or angry email, because, you want to get out the anger, burst out the anger, but not actually ever send it. And she does it, and her anger kind of does sputter out. She calls her kind of like, this kind of a bougie kind of, you're just doing this kind of to be hip, to be trendy, and, various other not nice things, but then goes to bed. In the morning, Ames, who had talked to her earlier, calls again, and is being kind of self-righteous of, like, she's talking about, like, having abortion. You need to apologize to her, being very self-righteous. And she's like, fuck you. hangs up and sends the sends the email, which really just hammers everything shut, it seems. Um, and she's like, and Katrina's like, basically, if we want to have this baby, I need you to be solid and dependable, which I guess means not queer anymore. And if that isn't the case, well, then I can't do this, and I'm going to have an abortion. And the next thing that happens is they get news that Reese has tried to commit suicide. And we kind of in that chapter we this final chapter we get Reese's kind of thing of like, well, Reese had been reading about this Minor Beidhoff or something like that, some Norwegian duty guy who decided his way of dealing with pain was going to be doing extreme stuff like extreme cold in water, hiking up Mount Everest in his shorts. Basically, it was a way of dealing with his grief after his wife's death. And they find out that and it's just like, and he's basically got kind of a crazy body kind of physiognomy. And Reese gets invited by Talia, who's trying to cheer her up, down to the beach where everyone's sunning themselves. No one's going in the water because it's like 50 degrees. And Reese suddenly goes, "Oh, I'm going to do that," and walks out into the water and off the sandbank and bloop, down. Uh, Four guys go out to try and rescue her. Three of them end up turning back. One guy who's been drinking all day goes, and it's like basically he's got antifreeze for water at this point, for blood at this point. So he's able to pluck her up out of the water, shoulder carrier, carry her back to the thing while she's protesting. "Oh no, I'm doing the minor Beethoven method." It's like, and all the people on the beach are like, fuck, it's another trans woman trying to kill herself. What a fucking drama queen. We're trying to enjoy ourselves on the beach. And the paramedics are like, you need to go to the hospital and get checked. Because it's been reported as self-harm, and basically, it's like, I'm not crazy. It's like, you say you lost a child. It's like, I've lost a child. I'm a trans woman, you dumbass. And they kind of exchange looks because it's like, you're a trans woman. Well, then you're most likely have tried to have killed yourself. So they're basically like, well, basically it's either the cops come and you get interviewed, or you go to the hospital. And the thought of all the people, all the gay people around the beach watching her get questioned by the cops. It's like, fuck, I'm going to the hospital. Goes to the hospital. Katrina and Ames, having been notified by Talia, show up. And they're there for her. And it's sort of like, well, you care about me. And she's like, this was not a call for attention. I'm really glad you're here, but it wasn't a call for attention. And basically, that's what the doctor said. It's like, well, you weren't going to kill yourself. You're just going to get hypothermia. This is obviously just tried a way to get attention. He's like, thank you. Thank you for the super kind words. It's like, a lot of doctors are assholes, and they think, oh, if I really turn up the assholeness on somebody who's suicidal, that's going to help. I don't know, one way or the other. But so she does apologize for the letter, and say, like, I was sad because I felt like I'm losing a child. I'm not going to get to be a part of its life. And Katrina doesn't say anything. And she does kind of go like, Ames is like, I can't remember when this came in, but basically Ames I think it was like Ames kind of goes through his own thing of like, he's trying to figure out what the hell does he want. He's got such a blankness to him that he can't figure it out. And he kind of hooks up with an old friend who knew him, before, when he was James, Amy, Ames. It's like very nakedly psychological there, as someone says. God, he's so wearing it on the sleeve, so indiscreet, that he can't bear to go back to James, so he goes to Ames. And they play baseball to try and he's trying to tap into, like, what does my body feel? Because the friend's like, somatic thing. It's like, sometimes they say just saying both options out loud, your body will react to one of them positively more or negatively more to one than the other, and that'll give you an idea. And so they go play baseball because that's kind of getting in touch with his body. Uh, he he goes and he makes love to her, and it's like, tries to get like that thing. And it's after making love to her, like, having sex and like really feeling it, he says like, look, I cannot promise you that I'm going to continue being a man, that um I'm very well likely could transition back to being a woman again, but I can't give you that. And she's like, well, I'm gonna, and she does end up booking an abortion. And on the day, this is the final bit, on the day, she invites Ames over and invites Reese over, and Reese initially doesn't turns it down, but then does come over, and they're coming over in her living room, and talking about the Sex in the City problem, that no trans woman has been able to solve it, and that cis women keep on reinventing it, for every generation. Um, and I think Ames is big, like, we just need to, it's like, we need to figure out for ourselves what kind of women we all are going to be, and if we can include anything else in that. And yeah, it ends with them all sitting there kind of reflecting on themselves, reflecting on this little life that what effect it might have on their thing, and what it might not even have in its own being, and just sort of that uncertainty, that moment, and that's where we end. Just no decision made, no solution actually kind of captured, because it is uncharted territory. But they're all there um, together in that, which is quite beautiful. It's actually kind of an interesting thing of just like kind of obviously Katrina should have a choice. Does have the choice of what to do with her body. But Reese definitely has that thing of like, oh fuck, you can think of the most conservative thoughts about, right to life, and like, this little unborn little creature inside of her. It's like it's a very visceral kind of feel for this life, which might or might not be, and that's totally up to up to Katrina what she decides. But it's like you also kind of go, oh yeah, that is that I feel that a little bit more. Um, it's a kind of it's interesting. This is the book kind of I've never had I'm decided not to have children, and we're well past that now. That was a decision that was made a while ago, and that's not happening. Um, but these are all people who are very kind of meshed in the thing of parenthood, and like of Ames thinking like, oh God, I couldn't become a father. Um, and it's almost something I can actually I can relate to, of what I saw of my family. I just didn't want to become that. Um, I just didn't want to become that. Yeah, and I chose not to, which is interesting. Yeah, and so this is somebody who's trying to negotiate that of, I don't want to become a father, but maybe I could become a parent, which is like an interesting thing to kind of see played out, and see how that, what my somatic response to that is. Because like, oh, you kind of have that same feel of like, for little that little potentiality there that is inside Katrina. with a heartbeat that they don't want to listen, that she does not want to listen to. That's when she decides to schedule the abortion, is when it's like, well, it's time to, like, come in, get the checkup. You get to hear the the heartbeat of the baby. And it's like, oh, I don't think that's something I could do. Um, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, really engaging book. Really engaging book. Yeah, it did kind of like, oh, I feel like it's going on a little too far with this stuff. But then, okay, it revved up. It did that switch with Reese's life kind of pushing in on Katrina's idealism. Just, okay, this is my life. I'm, having an affair with a married guy. There's a lot of guys out there who are, uh, this whole thing of what a straight male is, and um, a lot of things that straight males do, which would conflict with what's the public accepted thing of what being a straight male is. Um, you know, it's uh, always interesting. It's just you know, I know my own sexuality, and it's a lot more complicated than what you get very traditional things of what maleness is. I know it's not. Whatever I am is not well described by um, your just general kind of hetero dude stuff. It isn't described, and reading books like this are real gifts to that, and I really thank Terry Peters for this gift, um, because it really helps me look at things from yet another angle, a genuinely different angle, which is amazing, and I really care about these three characters. um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So awesome stuff. All right, I will leave it there. God, I don't know how I would. I'll have to let it sit and simmer and figure out how I'm going to review it, because I find that a valuable process too. There's reacting to it, and then there's like, oh, okay, letting it kind of sift down and see what are the main bits that I want to try and communicate to others. All right, all right. I will leave it there. More videos later.